get this shit rocking and rolling. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the inaugural episode of the Kitchen Table Podcast. I am Tyrone.
I'm Travis.
And we are the Libros. Welcome again to the first episode of the first season of the Kitchen Table Podcast. Now listen, everybody. We're just a couple of regular guys. We got opinions. We want to share them with you. We want to hear what you have to say. And I just wanted to take this time at the top of the first episode ever to let you know what you can expect, why we're doing this. And then hopefully from here on out we get straight to the news. I hate being an amateur. I hate being rookie. I hate being new. But I guess we got to get all this out of the way just to let people know, you know, what we're about. So this, if you can, as you probably know, rather, this is going to be a political commentary podcast. We know there's a lot of them. Everybody's a fucking pundit. But that's why we've created this podcast, right? Because we figure there's a bunch of people who are quote-unquote qualified on TV and on the internet giving their loud, terrible opinions. And there's not really any comments from average, regular people. Like, we don't really have a say in the discussion outside of what goes on in the comments and the message boards, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So this is hopefully going to be a medium where not only do we give our unsolicited opinion, but we can amplify some of the voices of you guys, of people who listen and follow politics in general, and having, you know, interesting or different points of view on things. We don't want it to be an echo chamber where you come here and we tell you what to think. You'll find out through the course of this adventure we're on that I guess I would describe myself as more of a progressive, and Travis would probably not take issue with me calling him a more neoliberal establishment type.
Center left.
Center left. He's a fucking corporate shill.
Wow.
See? He's going to be delivering that perspective most of the time. He's not forced to. I'm not going to coerce him to. This is no joke. We are actually brothers, and he's actually wrong 90% of the time.
Wow. All right. So now that you guys know how this is going to be.
That's how it's going to be. So that leads me to my next point. We're going to call each other on our bullshit. Obviously, with him being center left and me being on the left, we're going to have a lot of ideas that don't match up, that don't align, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into those issues. We're going to explain how we reach those conclusions. We'll pull up the evidence and data as it comes. You know, we do have access to the internet. We are a couple of millennials, so we're not going to be completely talking out of our asses. And like I said before, you guys are going to be out there backing us up in the comments and all that. So it'll be a conversation. It'll be fun to get into the issues. As you can assume, it's 2020 is going to be big.
Huge.
It's going to be a big election, so most of what we will talk about will likely have to deal with the president and the people running against him and how all that shakes out. But going forward, this is going to be, you know, no issues is going to be off the table. We'll talk about all the things. We'll talk about some, you know, societal things, even cultural things that might not necessarily have to do with Washington and politics, but they're just in the zeitgeist, things people are talking about, interesting debates that we're having nationally, so you can look forward to that. But yeah, all of that's going to be up for debate, and no subject's going to be off the table. I guess we should warn you we'll cuss a lot. I don't.
Yeah, that's a good.
I guess that's the thing people do.
Full disclosure here, we're gonna cuss.
Yeah, we're passionate about what we think, and we're gonna let that passion show. Lord knows you monsters and savages will let that be known in the comment section. So why should we tone it down, right? Yeah, it's no holds barred. It's gonna be a battle of wits. It's gonna be a battle of ideas. But in the end, hopefully, the goal is to not only give some sort of platform to the great ideas so we can continue to proliferate those, and the bad ideas so we know not to fuck with them at all. But we're eventually going to teach people how to be media literate. Look, like I said, we're just two guys. We're not ex news anchors. We haven't been in NBC's basement for the last 20 years. We've just been paying attention, and we're engaged in politics, and we do our research. And I think if we can figure it out, two schmucks from upstate New York can figure it out, then everybody should be able to. So yeah, we're gonna have lively conversation, but at the end of the day, you should walk away with the tools, if not the curiosity, to just dive deeper into the issue yourself, and take a look at what's going on, and inform your opinion and all that. So I guess the last thing I'd want to mention right off the top is that it's not just going to be me and Travis. We have Travis and I, excuse me.
Whoa. Trying to get that comment section.
Yeah,
already.
They're going to be
first 10 minutes. Come on.
They're going to be all over me, dude. All right. So the last thing I'd say is it's not going to be the liberals talking and disagreeing, even though it'll be good conversation. We got a gang of people who follow politics, who are in our local politics. We got everyone from activists to pastors to leaders of local parties. We got reporters. We got
Republicans, center right.
Republicans. We got people in the center right. The Trumpers. Some of them can talk coherently in full sentences. I want to get them in front of our microphone. I want them at the table so you people can hear them too. And we can all call them wrong to their face. We have access to those people. So this is not going to be an echo chamber. This isn't going to be a circle jerk of liberal, leftist, progressive ideas. We're gonna have a lot of voices, a lot of perspectives. So it would mean a lot if you guys stuck around. But I want to thank you all for just checking it out, seeing what we're about. And I promise that as we evolve and things get better, that you guys will be more than just listeners. You're gonna be participants. Is there anything you'd like to add? I kind of rambled.
No, I think you kind of nailed everything. I guess we agree so far, which is a good start.
Right.
I can't promise that we'll agree going forward like this, but I think you nailed it. I think you kind of highlighted all the areas we want to cover, what we want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to get this started.
Yeah, man.
Excited to start talking some politics. And,
start talking shit.
On the road. Yeah,
man.
Let's do it.
So going forward, a regular episode of Kitchen Table Politics might start out a little something like this. It looks like everybody and their mom's running for president. The Republicans have lost their mind, and 2020 is shaping up to be the biggest election in American history. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
This is going to be a big deal. Why is it going to be a big deal? People are probably thinking, what are you guys freaking out about? It's just another election. We do this every 4 years. Are you worried, concerned? Is this a big deal? Am I being hyperbolic? What do you think?
Well, I first want to say, anyone who's thinking that this election is not a big deal, they need to get their head out of their ass or from under the rock or wherever they are, because like you said, this is going to be the biggest election in history, definitely of our lifetimes, the most consequential election. This is more important than anything that I've come across in my lifetime.
Right.
This is something that we need to be paying attention to. We need to stay vigilant. We need to make sure we're involved. So if you're not paying attention, I say get involved, get woke, get good, fast, because this is a code red time in America. I don't have to tell you. I don't have to list off the issues. I think and a lot of our viewers should know where we're at right now. But this is code red.
Yeah.
So we need to get involved. We need to fight. We need to vote. And this isn't just against the president. This is against senators and House members and local politics, mayors, governors, dog catchers. I don't care. No, really, we need to stay woke, and we need to make sure we're taking our country back,
Right.
and not in the sense of Donald Trump and Republicans, and take our country back from the brown people. I mean, we need to take our country back to where it works for everyone. We need to make it so it works for everyone. We need to make sure that regardless what color you are, you can afford your childcare, you can afford your school, you have a job to work, a place to live at. This is where we're at. We need to make sure that women, their rights are protected, and they're not, being subjected to invasive pelvic exams and things like that. Like, this is a very important, scary time in our country, and I think we just need to, stay on it, stay woke again, pay attention, and get out there. I think that's kind of what we're doing right now with this podcast.
Right.
I think we're trying to, do something. Get out there, be energized.
Right.
And I think that's what we're trying to do. And I think everyone else, if they're not already there, they're about to get there.
Yeah, they're about. Listen,
the water's hot. The water's hot.
Yeah, I think for me, I think outside of the shocking, abhorrent policies that the Trump administration and his cronies have attempted to implement, I think outside of the rabid, crazy, unhinged nature of his small but very vocal base, I think I was shocked to find out how easy it was for our democracy to get hijacked by monsters and morons.
Yeah.
Like, this is all stuff that we would say could happen, and if it did, we'd have plenty of warning, so we'd stop it beforehand. And now we see, people like Ben Carson, who's a moron running the HUD department. He doesn't know anything about the department. We saw Scott Pruitt before he got kicked out for being corrupt, was the guy who sued the EPA. He was the head of the EPA. We got Betsy DeVos actively doing nothing to help our children. We've got Steve Mnuchin actively doing nothing to grow our economy. Yep. We've got like Steve Mnuchin's the Treasury Secretary. So we got monsters and morons, the lot of them, and you're gonna hear me say that all the time because these Republicans are abhorrent. They're not good people. Anyone good among them, you do well to just call yourself a Democrat at this point and leave.
Yeah.
We have plenty of people who think like you, believe it or not, on the Democratic side who don't ascribe to the misogyny and the racism and the bigotry and the homophobia and the Islamophobia and the warmongering. And we don't need all that. And you can still be a fiscal conservative and live your life and sleep well at night. You don't have to
take a shower when you
come
home from work or get home from the bar after talking politics.
Right.
You don't have to run in the shower because...
Like, if you're still a Republican at this point, you want to be. You want to hang out with the racists. You want to take advantage of the people who are too disengaged or too stupid to look into the issues themselves. That's why they've been able to get so far. That's why we can have a president with 11 instances of obstruction of justice in the White House right now, with his base thinking that's okay.
Yeah.
Because there's no the asylum is run by the crazy people. Yeah. There's no adults over on that side of the room. There's no one who would let this man listen. I'm not going to spend the whole podcast
talk about this for an hour.
But you get it. The Republican Party is a mess. Now, on the same side, though, we have a little bit of differences as far as what we should be doing on the left. So, as you've probably picked up, there's different flavors of Democrat running. Everybody and their mom is going to throw their hat in the ring. It's going to be a battle of how the parties want to run themselves. I think that's what makes it a big deal to bring it full circle. Republicans are going to figure out who they want to be, and the Democrats are going to have to figure out who they want to be. And for that reason alone, I think this is the biggest election of our lifetime in political history for this country, because afterwards, I don't think either party will be the same, and hopefully, God willing, this is the first step in sending the GOP to the fucking dustbin of history, because I'm about sick of them.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but let's keep it on the liberal side of things. I mean, we got Bernie, we got Elizabeth, we got Tulsi, we got our aggressive progressives, we got Joe Biden, we got Kamala Harris, we got Cory Booker, we got Pete Buttigieg, we got the establishment, we got the newcomers, we got Beto O'Rourke. Jesus Christ, can the Democrats just make up their mind how you feel about this field?
If 30, almost 30.
30, yeah.
By the time we're done, there will be 30.
Yeah, there's about 22 last count.
So, yeah, this is. I mean, it's exciting for me to watch all these different flavors, as you said. Interact and squabble for votes and see what every part of the party believes. I think, but I also think that it could be a little damaging to the party and as a whole, simply because I feel like we all can't make up our mind. So I think we have all these different flavors, and we have all these people who like these flavors. The challenge is going to get a majority of Democrats to agree on one flavor.
Sure.
So that challenge kind of makes me nervous, because I don't want to go into a week before the convention still trying to see if everyone's going to be unified. I think we already tried that. I don't think it worked. So I think we need to figure out who's running, who our candidate's going to be, and what our platform is, what our values are, what our policy is going to be. Not what our policies are. I guess what they're going to be, because we have to win on what wins. We can't we can't just stick to our own beliefs, and just because we are right or think we're right doesn't mean it's going to move the country forward, doesn't mean it's going to win. And ultimately, that's the goal. It's winning.
Right.
So regardless if we have 25, 22, 38, 100 candidates, if we're not in a position to win, all of this is null and void. All of this is for nothing.
Right.
So
so how do you feel about what do you think the chances are that that process will be allowed to play out?
I think I honestly, as a center left Democrat who didn't vote for Bernie Sanders, I feel like the process is going to play out just fine, and there's not going to be any issues as long as you're a registered Democrat and you believe in democratic values and you're supporting Democratic candidates. You will be welcomed in all primaries, welcomed in the whole process, and you'll be able to compete and have a chance to win.
Yeah, that's interesting. I agree. I don't have any issues with that take per se. I just think it's funny that we're talking about allowing people to step forward with their ideas and to select one that we want a person to lead us going forward as the standard bearer for our party. It's funny because most of the progressive policies that people like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren push for have the support of the American people, but it seems like the candidates like them are often not. They're given platforms, but they're not taken seriously. Let's be real. Up until this point, progressives have been viewed as crazy, unrealistic ideologues who want to give everybody unicorns and taffy. But it's funny because now we have people like Joe Biden going out there calling themselves progressive. So they're willing to use the label because they know we got the policy. But when it comes to people who are actually willing to deliver on that policy, it seems that we kind of poo-poo them. We need an adult to do your policy. You're not doing it right. We need some middle ground, and in that respect, I kind of agree with you. We're gonna talk. we're gonna talk about some shit. We want Medicare for all. We want that to happen. I'm not saying it has to happen overnight. I'm just saying we need somebody who's willing to start that process.
Absolutely.
We don't want to get paid a living wage. We want a living wage at the federal level.
I agree with that.
I don't care. We don't need it tomorrow. I'm not saying do it next week. It doesn't even have to be done in the first 100 days. But we need somebody in office who's going to look at that proposal seriously and set that into action. We need to do something about climate change. We need to do something about, like, we're not idiots. The California's been on fire for how many times now? 4 or 5 years running.
Yeah, I mean,
and the tornadoes have been getting worse. Hurricanes have been getting worse. Snowstorms have been getting worse. We're breaking record. Like, we're not dumb. We need to do something about it. We don't need to find middle ground with Republicans who bring snowballs in the halls of Congress to prove that global warming isn't real. We don't need to do business with fossil fuel companies that dump gallons of oil into our oceans at a time when we're trying to preserve the earth, and so we need a green new deal. We need somebody who is going to, again, not in the 100 days, but will look at the information and get the ball rolling on that. So a lot of people say they're going to do it. A lot of people say they want to do it another way. That's fine. We can have that discussion. But I think at the end of the day, not only will the progressives win on that, on those fronts, but you'll see that voters will back them up too. So that's why I'm hoping we'll get some robust. We should have a debate every other day in this country. I really do. With this many candidates, we should have Democrats on your TV all day, every day, talking shit and shifts. What do you think?
I agree. I just to what you were saying, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think everything you've outlined are things that all Democrats want, and we want a fair wage.
Yeah.
We want affordable college. We want affordable health care. We want all of these things. I feel like we have a lot of Democrats, I guess now you want to call them moderates or center left or whatever, the establishment. I don't think they're calling themselves progressives all of a sudden because of Bernie Sanders. I think they've always called themselves progressives. I think Bernie Sanders and his side of the party now have decided what progressive means now. It's different than what, I guess, originally what we all thought. Now it's different, and I question the motives on why it's different. Is it truly different, or is it different for the sake of an election? Because if you look at when Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House, we got minimum wage increase. Barack Obama was president. We did go in the Paris Agreement, the Paris Accord. We did that in regards to climate change. We got the Affordable Care Act, which are all these are good steps towards what we all want to get to. Like, these are important steps. But these steps aren't looked at as accomplishments of the Democratic Party or progressives because they weren't 100%. So it's, what are we going to, as a party, what are we going to agree on? Because if the last Democratic administration and the last Speaker of the House, if they did things that put us in a decent position and they're still not looked at as a progressive, what is the litmus test going to be? Like, when are we going to be like, okay, now Joe Biden, now Nancy, now you're a progressive because like, where are we going with that? And I just think that in addition to having debates every day or every other day with Democrats on TV, we have to have a coherent message. We have to understand where we are, where we've been, and where we're going. And I really think as a party we're kind of fractured because we don't, everyone's opinion is different on where we've been. Everyone's opinion is different on where we need to go, and everyone's opinion is different on where we are now. So I think if we just get in some kind of coherent message, we'll be able to have those debates on TV. We'll be able to, hold people's attention more than we are now. I think, we have 25 people calling themselves liberal with 25 different messages. So and everyone's right. And I think if we keep going on that path, people are going to see it for what it is. And Trump's going to sneak in and win, 270 electoral votes and lose the popular vote by 6, 7, 8 million, and he's going to be a two-term president. I don't think we can risk that, all because we didn't have our message together.
Yeah. No, I mean, clearly I 100% disagree. But you asked the question. You said, what's the litmus test?
Yeah.
I think, first and foremost, call me old-fashioned, but I think we should take a look at the people who just ran. Let's take a look at our freshman senators and our freshman Congress people and see who they are and why they got elected. So I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a congresswoman from New York. Her name's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes.
Best $5 I ever spent. I'll tell you that much. Donating to that campaign. It's paid me back in dividends. Just the happiness I feel waking up knowing that I have a representative from New York like that is awesome. But let's see. How did she get elected? She got elected by not taking any corporate PAC money. She's got elected by saying she wanted a Green New Deal. She's been supporting increase in wages for workers. She wants to stop the stupid wars. She wants to make college affordable for people. These are all progressive policies.
Those are her policies. That's not what she got elected. She got elected because she ran in a primary with
against Joe Donnelly,
Joe Crowley,
whatever.
Yeah, no.
Joe Crowley. I don't know. He wasn't around.
You don't even care.
He wasn't around. So that guy and lost. He was what, 10-term incumbent?
Yeah.
He was there for 10 years. So more than 10 years, 10 terms.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was just some schmuck who had some policies that people didn't vibe with.
Well, he was complacent, so was his district. Everyone was complacent. That doesn't translate into an Ocasio mandate. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't translate.
It's not a mandate. It's not a mandate, but at the very least, you should gather that there's a few things that she did right. An upstart freshman candidate from the middle of the Bronx somewhere is unseating a 10-term incumbent. You might want to pay attention to the shit she's saying. That's all I'm saying.
It's not the first time this has happened.
That's all I'm saying.
In both parties.
That's all I'm saying. So
I just don't want you guys to put too much weight into it.
But you asked for a litmus test. You asked for a litmus test. If there's going to be one, the point I'm trying to make is the first thing you should be looking at is what the fuck people want.
Absolutely.
You should be looking at your constituency. 100%. You should be looking at the base nationally. Yes. If what you're saying isn't jiving with what we're thinking as base, then why the fuck am I gonna vote for you?
I agree.
Because your name's Biden, because you know Barack.
Right. No, that's a good point.
because the fucking CNN had you on the fucking cover of their website looking like the 40-year-old virgin, like Pete Buttigieg. Like, is that why? Is it because the Democratic Party machine is throwing money behind a certain candidate like they were last election cycle, not this election cycle, to be clear. Although they probably are, I haven't checked. I'm not going to talk out of pocket on that one. The DNC does a lot of shit that I disagree with. I don't need to make anything up. So, but you understand my point.
Right. I totally agree.
If that's not, it doesn't have to be a litmus test, but if that's not being considered, then I don't know what is. So, to take it further, all right, well, what do people want? People overwhelmingly want a universal health care.
Yes.
People overwhelmingly want to make college affordable and release some of the burden on these college debts. People overwhelmingly are tired of the endless war, and they want us to fucking focus on our jobs and our economy and to help grow businesses here. So they want a living wage. People don't want handouts. They just want people to acknowledge their plight and to fix what's broken.
Yes.
We need criminal justice reform.
Yes.
We need that shit. We need to get our black and brown fathers out of prison,
Yes.
serving time for carrying drugs or smoking a little bit of weed, while Wall Street bankers get golden parachutes all the way to fucking Maui for ripping off our country, and plunging us into poverty, right? So we want those guys in jail. Like, these are all things that you have to be willing to say that you're going to do. You got to hold people accountable. I think at the end of the day, people and progressives want some goddamn transparency, and they want some accountability.
Right.
And these Republicans are running roughshod because there's no transparency and they're not being held to account.
Right.
So we need a candidate who will do that. I think, generally speaking, because we got 22 of the motherfuckers, we have a lot of people running that can do that. Now, I voted for Bernie. Big Bernie guy. I was Bernie in the primary in 2016. I owe that man no allegiance. I have a shirt with his face on it. That doesn't mean I'm throwing my vote behind him this time around. Granted, there's nothing that says I wouldn't. He hasn't not earned it. I probably will at this point. But the point is, we got options this time. We have an opportunity to have these discussions about policy and what we should do, because damn it, there's so many of us.
Right. We shouldn't need this many candidates. I mean, it's exciting and I love having the options, but in reality, we shouldn't need all these candidates. I think one of the biggest reasons why we have all these candidates is because a lot of us, progressives, people on the center left, everyone in the party, we're spending way too much time trying to figure out why we shouldn't vote for one of these candidates than trying to figure out why we should.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
22, 23 Democrats running, and it's all I hear from both sides of the party, from both wings of the party, is why we shouldn't vote for Bernie Sanders, or why we shouldn't vote for Elizabeth Warren, or Tulsi Gabbard, or why we shouldn't vote for Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris. And it's like,
I hear you.
That to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, we need to come together with an agreement on, we need to support anybody who says they are liberal, who says they're Democrat, who says they're progressive, because at the end of the day, if you wake up and someone in the White House is identifying as a progressive or a liberal or a Democrat, that is going to be 100 times better than where we are today and where we are going. So I think that should be our first thing, is that at least we can say that regardless who wins, we should have a spirited debate. And whoever wins, we know that we're going to be in good hands. And I don't think we can do that. We're unwilling to do that now.
I hear you, and I honestly think that that's just because we haven't had a debate, right? We've people who know the candidates and know where they're from, know about their candidates, and they've done a little bit of research, but we haven't seen them challenge each other on these ideas. So, I mean, maybe fucking Tulsi Gabbard and Kamala Harris sync up better on foreign policy than we know now, because they literally haven't had a chance to communicate with each other, right? So I hear you. I think that's a product of it just being an early election, but your overall point stands. It's solid. We need a solid message. It shouldn't be this hard to beat Donald Trump.
No,
it really shouldn't.
Exactly. We shouldn't need this many candidates. We shouldn't be trying this hard to
There
beat
should
Donald
be
Trump.
maybe 6.
However, I don't think that's our fault, because we also have to understand the time we live in. Donald Trump, his number one supporter is the racist, the American racist. And I think we've underestimated how many of them they are and how active they are right now. Well, that's we have to understand that, the whole Bernie and Hillary debate and all this stuff, and, Jill Stein was on the ballot and all this stuff. The bottom line is Donald Trump won because of 2 reasons. 1, the Electoral College is shit. And 2, the American racists rose up and they were like, look, this is going to be payback for Barack Obama. And that's, put that black man ahead, at the head of the country. We had to live like that. So now we need total chaos. We need Donald Trump because he at least identifies with the racists, and that's what we want. And we can't underestimate those people. We can't underestimate what they're going to do and how they're going to act.
Exactly. So we've touched on the Democratic Party, what's going on over on our side of the aisle, and we openly agree that there's some friction, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But no matter what you say about us progressives or centrist Democrats, we are leagues better off as a party. It'll be different after this election, but the Republican Party is gonna be drastically different.
Oh yeah,
because they are monsters and morons, dude.
They've built their party on the backs of child molesters, and womenizing rapists,
yep.
You know, and racists. That is their foundation. It's built on that. So good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And that's what we're talking about. Listen, I am gonna drive a stick through my eye if I hear one more person say, "Well, I understand you don't like Trump or the Republicans, but there's some decent people over on that side of the aisle." There shouldn't be.
No.
There shouldn't be decent people on that side of the aisle.
Absolutely not.
With the shit that these people have been pulling for decades, even before Donald Trump got elected.
Yeah.
The audacity of these people to pass bills that fatten the wallets of their corporate buddies and enrich themselves, and then tell me that I'm a welfare queen because I'm asking for a living wage.
Exactly.
You can go fuck yourself.
Thank you, for real.
Just that alone, just the economic policy of the Republican Party should be enough to send any rational human being screaming from that party with their hair on fire. And you're fiscally conservative, let alone what all these fucking religious people do on a daily basis. Be it demonizing people who don't believe what they believe, all the terrible things they do to the LGBT community.
Yep.
I mean, their bloodlust for war, and these are the guys who are supposed to be followers of Christ. So the hypocrisy, the greed, and just the cruelty of the Republican Party is something that needs to be destroyed, eliminated,
just gone.
Root and stem. They need to go. Now, I don't know what they're going to do after that, because either the racists and the bigots and the monsters win, which, well, good night, folks. Good night and good luck. Or they don't. And then when they don't, what's going to be over there? I'd argue there's plenty of room for the center left to expand. I would rather debate those guys all day than fucking Louis Gohmert. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. No. Yeah.
So do you think we're getting a little speculation and shit talking and predictions now? Do you think that the Republicans are on the course to becoming a party of monsters and morons permanently, or do you think they're on their way out? What's your gut feeling?
I think they're on their way out. I think eventually we're going to beat them back enough to where they're just going to be a party of morons and racists and bigots, and they're not going to have anywhere to go.
Yes.
And I think the moderate, I guess, quote, moderate Republicans will probably end up merging into the center left-ish kind of wing, and that will create the new Republican Party, which will be the new conservatives, and then the left and the right will have their debates. But as of right now, I think the party is going towards extinction. They're going towards the Republican Party that I guess we grew up with, or we've grown up to know, is almost gone.
Oh,
now
right.
they're gone. You know, so they don't exist anymore. So currently, what we have now is just a melting pot of all this crazy right-wing conservatism with a little bit of moderate seasoning in there that you can't taste, and they are trying to hold on to the poorly educated and the racist and the attacked the white man,
the fervently religious,
religious, and that's not a good game. That's not a good game plan. That's not a good strategy. So
because they don't know how to govern.
Right, exactly. They're ideologically bankrupt.
Yeah.
And they don't, they have no ideas. So their only play is, well, let's play to the racists.
Yep, keep the bigots and the
let's play
racists
to
and
the
the crazies
religious
happy.
right. Yeah, all the crazies and the conspiracy theories, because they're the ones. The conspiracists they're the ones who are going to vote for us and keep us in power. And I don't think that's going to last much longer.
And let's not forget that this is also the party that will literally lie, cheat, and steal to win elections.
Yeah.
We have gerrymandering. We have that fucking... I don't know how Stacey Abrams is in Georgia and didn't flip a table yet.
Yeah, really.
Like, that woman got fucked in Georgia with their governor.
Yeah.
Their governor happens to be the guy in charge of counting all the votes. Yeah, it looks like I won.
Yeah, no problem there.
No problem here.
Yeah, right. I'll count them.
Yeah,
I got it. Don't worry.
Oh, what? That woman. I mean, so she got screwed.
She did.
We got Chris Kobach being appointed. Good thing he lost his election in Kansas. He tried the same thing though, but he didn't. He got caught trying to steal his governor, his race. So, I mean, we have George Bush. I mean, he was a court-appointed president because that election was basically stolen. So these people literally can't win on ideas. Like I said, I would rather have Democrats. I'd rather have progressives and centrists fighting over the nuances of policy that we all agree, than trying to explain to somebody that holding a snowball doesn't mean global warming.
Right.
Is real. Is a hoax rather.
Right.
I need people who are willing to have their intellectual curiosity go beyond I disagree fake news.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
I can't converse with you when you think like that. I can't have people say it's okay for people to get shot in the back, or kids to be put in cages, or for us to be breaking up families, or for you to discriminate against a trans kid because Bible. Like,
that's no longer
I can't talk to you. And then the more power people like that have, the closer we are to having a country that's governed by feelings and opinions rather than the will of the people, which is how it's supposed to be.
Exactly. No, I absolutely agree. I think to all your points there, we're in this position because the Republicans have done nothing but steal elections for decades. George Bush was a one-term president, but he was really the last Republican, I guess, who really won a majority of the country.
Right.
Ronald Reagan went against Carter. He won 50.1 or 50.2% of the vote. There was a third party, and he didn't barely get half the vote. And then you got Bill Clinton. He won. He won both his elections. And then you had George Bush, who stole the election. Mm-hmm. And then you had Barack Obama, and then you had Donald Trump, who also stole the election. Mm-hmm. So I feel like at this point we're going against a party who has claims to power, but they don't actually have claims to power. You know what I mean? They don't actually win anything, and they haven't been winning forever. Mm-hmm. Like my entire lifetime, they haven't won anything. They haven't won the majority of anything other than in 2004. And it's because the president wasn't an incumbent, because he was president from an election he stole. Yeah. So I mean, my entire life I've never seen the Republicans actually win anything.
Right.
So I feel like we are going into a spot with these people where we either have to shit or get off the pot.
Right.
Because they're not a formidable opponent.
Right.
So in order for us to further debate and have debates, we need a formidable opponent. Republicans aren't. They're just not. They're just crazy. So it shouldn't be this hard to get rid of them. So I think we need to focus on just making them extinct. Making them just gone. Yeah. And when they're gone, we can actually further policy in this country, because we're never going to get anywhere at this point if that's who we're going against. If we're going against the racist, if we're going against the bigot, and that's all they have. Mm-hmm. We're not. They shouldn't even be in the discussion right now. You know what I mean? Like we're done. And not to mention they haven't won anything. They're losing elections left and right. But yet, because of gerrymandering, like you said, because of rules, they are still holding on to power, and that's frustrating to me. Like, how do we, how can we get these people out? Because even as pissed off as we all are, look at Stacey Abrams.
Right.
She's getting elections stolen from. Look what went on in North Carolina.
Right.
Like, we're still getting elections stolen from us.
Right.
So
I'd go so far as to say the only good idea is that I've seen come out of the Republican Party since I've been paying attention in politics is Romney Care, and we can do that better. So we can do better than
Romney
that.
Care was their last big bill.
That was your last big idea.
That's they don't have a plan on health care because Barack Obama passed it.
Yeah, because we did it already. So we're gonna fix that shit too.
Yeah,
right. Just like the economies we keep fucking propping up after you wreck them.
Yeah.
GOP. So listen, in the notes it says it's time to go, but I am not leaving. I have to.
Oh no, we got more.
I have to get my jabs in at the fucking media. Listen, you people will learn that I'm a journalist. That's what I went to school for. I'm freelancing now. I worked at a small newspaper for about 4 years. I did some freelance work. I worked online with a bunch of people at one point. So I know my way around a newsroom, and I got to tell you, I'm deeply disappointed in our mainstream media. I was taught to be better, and I just want to know what you. I mean, we hear the charge all the time that mainstream media is liberal, has a liberal bias. How do you, as a liberal, feel about how your points of view have been being represented on places like MSNBC and CNN? Please.
They have a money bias. They have whatever is going to get ratings. And they're not interested in CNN and MSNBC both. They're interested in producing stories that people are interested in, and that people are going to like look at and say, oh, that's interesting because it's like a fiery crash or something morbid or horrible. People are interested, but they're not engaged with people and trying to teach them why they should be interested in certain issues. Right. So I think CNN and MSNBC both are just kind of more geared to what's going to pay the bills versus what people really may not want to talk about them all, but need to talk about. So I'm just disappointed in the mainstream media because there's so much out there that people need to know. There's so much reporting that needs to be done. We need to have like segments and stories and series about a whole host of issues, but because people aren't paying attention to them now, they don't sell as well. So it's like, well, we're just not going to report them. And I'm sorry. I think if you're in the media, regardless if you want to sell ads or not, you need to report on the most significant stories. And I know these people who work there they know a whole bunch of significant stories,
right,
but they know they just can't get those to air because they're not going to pay the bills.
Right.
They want to hear salacious details about Trump, or they want to hear, like look in the 2016 election. Donald Trump got free airtime everywhere.
They were showing spots of his empty podium.
Right. Exactly, because he would show up and just ramble on and on, looking like a slob, and that was good TV.
Yeah.
And meantime, people are out there dying and are fighting for their health care, and people's water is getting poisoned, and we have our mainstream media showing an empty podium because some, incoherent slob is about to walk up there and spew racist, misogynistic, bigoted shit.
Right.
And it's like we need to gear from that and be okay. Well, Donald Trump's a racist, he's an idiot. We're not going to cover that. We know what he's going to say. If you want to listen to Donald Trump, check his Twitter page.
Right.
But today, this is what we're going to cover, and I think MSNBC and CNN have done a poor job at doing that. They're kind of just like, I think they spent a whole day when the Trump Tower caught on fire.
Right.
Like, what does that mean? It's a building in New York City. The fire alarm went off. The fire department got there. End of story.
Right.
The amount of time they spent covering that was just ridiculous because it had the Trump name on it.
Right.
And I'm as a whole, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the media not covering stories that I think are significant and important. Mm-hmm. I want to hear good coverage on issues that are going on, like in the inner cities or in rural America. People who can't afford their prescriptions, or people who can't, who are working, 2 jobs and they can't make ends meet, or people who, have 2 able working people in the household, but one has to stay home because you can't afford childcare. I want to hear those stories, and those things are not getting reported on because Trump, because Donald Trump is here. Will he be impeached? Will he not be impeached? Look, at this point, we already know, what's going on with that. We need to start reporting on regular old people and their issues, and eventually that will translate into more viewers and the type of viewers that we want to watch the mainstream media, not just the people like you and I who are interested and just want to see what's going on. We want people who may not know anything about politics, may not watch the news, but say, hey, look, I caught that story. They're talking about an issue that is important to me. Let me check this out. And I think CNN, MSNBC need to start doing more of that.
Or at the very least, stories about people like you or in your community.
Yeah.
I mean, the mainstream media is highly sensationalized, and they're fucking treating the fucking Washington, D.C. like it's fucking LA, and with respect to like what people are doing, like everybody's a fucking celebrity. CNN is basically TMZ for fucking ugly people.
Good point. Yeah,
that's basically what that is. But I mean, God forbid, CNN take a week to do a story, to get into the nuances and into the nitty gritty of some of this shit.
Yeah.
Why is it up to a couple of schmucks like us to get on the internet and explain the details of, say, why a Medicare for all system is the best way to go as opposed to our current system?
Right.
Why is that my job?
Right, exactly.
You're the one on primetime right now, fucking with the megaphone in the audience. And listen, I like Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo. I don't need to see them fucking hang out and chat for a half an hour.
Right.
Just because they're buddies and they both do the news.
Yeah.
Like, get to the issue. Get to the policy. And do some goddamn work.
Seriously.
Don't just fucking bring up, oh, this guy's a Republican. He says what he's doing is right. I asked him a couple of questions about it. And we're done now.
And you didn't fact check him.
You didn't fact check
him or her at that time either. That's one thing they don't do. They're notorious for that.
You know why? Because they're afraid of being called fucking shills. They're afraid of because conservatives throw a hissy fit anytime you call them out on their hypocrisy or contradiction or say something doesn't make any sense. Yeah. You saw fucking what happened with Ben Shapiro when he went over to England last month. He went over to do an interview to promote some book he wrote, and he gets on front of British national television and calls his interviewer a liberal hack and a shill. That guy who interviewed him, I don't remember his name. Right. I don't listen to him. You know why? Because he's one of the most conservative men in England, let alone politics internationally. Yeah. He's a hardcore conservative. And he doesn't know his fucking ass from a hole in a well. And Ben Shapiro thought he could go out there and just call him liberal, call him biased, because this guy, credit to him, asked him some tough questions. Yeah. Asked him, well, you're saying you don't like the way discourse is gone in your country, but at the same time, you promote slanderous, inflammatory shit. So what's the deal? Yeah. Well, I think you're a liberal. I don't understand why you
ripped the mic off and ran out.
Would you admit, sir, that you have an agenda, you have a bias against me from a liberal point of view? Because and that's all they got to do. And in America, that works. Yeah. And it doesn't fly outside of our borders, people. You can be a real journalist. It sucks that as a fan of news, as someone who is interested in politics and what's going on in reporting, that I look forward to when our politicians are interviewed by a foreign news organization. I like seeing my people on BBC or Al Jazeera or even, God forbid, RT. Because at least they got people asking them questions. Univision. Pick one.
Right, exactly.
Pick one. Anywhere they go outside of this country, they're going to get asked tough questions. Yeah. And that's why they go. That's why people don't go, rather. So I need fucking mainstream media to stop treating DC like the fucking prom and this like the school newspaper. We got fucking issues. Listen, I get the glitz and the glamour. It's fine. There's a place and time for it. We got plenty of places to poke fun and make jokes and comment on the shallow, vapid nature of most of the things that go on DC. But when you have a presidential election and you've got a president in power implementing some of the policies and an administration beating the drums of war, taking people's rights away, breaking up families, and emboldening Nazis, I think we could find something more for Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon to do than to banter.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree.
So, I'm so disappointed, but at the same time, look, I don't want to abolish the press. I love the press.
Absolutely not.
You're not gonna hear me yelling fake news, but you will hear me yell be better, because I fucking love the institution. It's the fourth estate, and clearly, the three branches in government that were put there by our founding fathers are not doing so hot right now.
No.
We need the fourth pillar. We need journalism. I want it to be better. I'm not going to profess to be breaking news here, but I can do it. You want me to? I know how to write a story. I know how to get to the heart of the issue. I can find sources and facts, and hopefully I'll be able to do some of that with you guys. I want this to actually turn into not just a place for us to vent and to debate, but for us to inform ourselves and other people. So yes, I would love to see that. But that's way down the road, Travis. We just got here.
That's right. This is day one.
This is day one. So listen, we're gonna try to keep these things a little on the shorter side, just to start with. We're gonna try to do this every week. But I mean, is there anything you wanna end with about our journey into the internet, into the cyberspace world? Anything you want to tell people, or
just like I've been saying, stay woke, get involved, pay attention. That's basically what we're doing, you know, and we're just trying to make a platform for it. Let us know what you see. Keep your eyes open. Let us know what you want to cover, what you want us to cover. What's grinding your gears.
Yep.
And I just want to be, I guess that the avenue for people to get their voices heard. Maybe a little cliche, but I want people to, identify us as somebody who's talking, real shit, who's out there and reporting on the nitty gritty, the underbelly of America, and we're not,
and calling people out on their bullshit, man.
Exactly, calling people out on their bullshit. We
don't got time to play games. We don't got time for the lies or the innuendos or beating around the bush. People's lives are at stake. Our livelihood, our democracy, it's not hyperbole. Shit's about to get real for this country, and we have the potential. We're in a great position to make sure it goes the right way, but it could all go bad, and it can only it can all go real bad if we stay uninformed or dismissive. And I don't want to do that with this podcast. I don't want to rail on the insignificant stuff. I want to talk about the stuff that matters. I want to hear from people what matters to them. So at the end of the day, we could create a product that informs people, gives us a place to discuss complex issues, calls people out on their bullshit, and ultimately is a force for advancing progressive policy.
Right. So that's country. Why anybody at all who is listening to this, that is why you are so important.
Indeed.
Because we can't do it alone. If you see bullshit, you hear bullshit, tell us. We'll call it out.
Yep.
Well, and we will do our best to try to keep everybody, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, racist, homophobes, all of them too. We want to keep them honest. We want to make sure that we're not just screaming in the mic about things that upset us, but we're coming up with ideas and coherent plans of actions on how to deal with these things and how to combat what I said is a code red assault on all our values here in America.
Right.
Everything that makes America already great is under attack right now. So it's important for people who are listening to this, who are involved, to stay involved and help us out, because this is a very consequential time in our history.
Well met. I got nothing, man. That was it. That was everything. So listen, we're gonna be getting better. Right now, this is our inaugural podcast. So what you're gonna have to do is, if you like it, let us know in the comment section below. If you hate it, let us know in the comment section below. If you want to hear us fuck up or keep being awesome, however you walked away, make sure you like and subscribe to the Facebook page. Should we get any other platforms up and running, Facebook, Twitter, all that nonsense, it'll show up in the comment section, in the description below, rather. So you will have that once we have that. But yeah, we're starting from scratch. We're building it up from the ground up. It's going to be a true grassroots podcast, and we're going to be relying on mostly on you guys too. Not even just for financial support, so much as just support in general. Yeah. So again, thank you for your time. If you tuned in to this first episode, we appreciate it, and I promise you, it's only going to get better from here, at least as far as the quality of our podcast goes.
Absolutely. This is day one of our journey, and we're just trying to get people on board with this journey. So we plan on being a lot further ahead eventually, and we would love to bring as many people with us as possible. So
indeed,
absolutely, we're going to get better and more informative.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, we just scratched the surface today because, like we said, it's first episode, but we're gonna get into the issues.
It went much better than Trump's inauguration, though. I will definitely say that. It went much better.
Yeah, that was definitely. I'm actually proud of that. Yeah, we're gonna have the biggest turnout for the first podcast, period.
Yeah, ever. So, we have more viewers than anybody for the first podcast ever
in the history of their first podcast, perhaps in the world. All right, guys.
With that,
we're gonna sign off. We'll see you guys next week. Y'all stay up.
All right, guys.